All right, and we're back with another episode of The Hunger Games, and I've been looking forward to this one a lot because there's a couple movies that have really shaped me over the last 5 or 6 years, and they're called Dune, and I'm with a longtime friend of mine. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Vanessa Mendez. I've known Drew since, I don't know, teenage years.
It's been almost 20 years, probably. I mean, I was probably like 20, so that's a good like 18 and a half years, something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Vanessa's like a sister to me, but also a really good friend, and I'm very happy to have her here because she and I have been talking about this movie for some years now, like back and forth.
Yep.
And I have some friends that are like, you should only do new movies on your thing, and I'm like, well, I should, but like I fucking love Dune.
Yeah.
And Dune is like one of the best movies I think that's come out
in
the last 5 or 6 years. Would you agree?
I do. I think it's a complete story, and it goes back to the writing in the books. But it is so visually stimulating. I don't think I've ever been like, oh, I'm not in the mood to watch Dune right now. So
yeah. How many times do you think you've seen? Because we're gonna stick to part 1 for this episode, and we'll do you and I will do part 2 together. But how many times do you think you've seen Dune part 1?
How many times?
How many times?
There was at least like a solid 3 months where I would just put it on after I came home from work and just let that shit run. It's amazing. So I've probably watched it in its entirety, like focused, at least 15 times. Yeah.
At least 15. And you just watched it today?
I did. I just watched it today.
And I just watched it like 2 or 3 days ago. And I like force people to watch this movie, like almost by gunpoint, but I don't own a gun. So kind of like that. But this movie like is really amazing to me. And now we were talking about this. Part 2 is different and it really much expands on it. And like part 1 is the foundation, but part 2 is like how it all wraps it up. And
well, part 2 does leave it open.
It does.
Yeah.
Because the ending's really abrupt in part 2. Like if there's like
part 1 as well. You know? You just like, okay, see ya.
It's kind of just like, I'm into the desert power, bye.
Yeah. Like this is, I remember the exact line. He says it, Jessica's trying to get him to go back and he needs to get off world. I know you have smugglers and whatever that'll ship him out. And he's like, no, it's my destiny to go into the desert.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like asking Javier Bardem, like, can we get a ship? Can we get the fuck out of here? And Paul is like, no. Like, we need to stay. Like, this is my father came here for a reason. So I'm going to stay here. It's pretty dope.
It is. It's really introductory and some of the juiciest bits happen in the second movie, but it is the first movie that I fell in love with initially. And it has a lot to do with the cinematography and the sound and the plot and the actors. I really think they spared no expense.
No expense, really. Yeah. And like, how many times did you see it in theaters?
In theaters, I saw it twice.
Okay. Yeah, and I saw it 4 times in theaters because when I first saw it, I was just blown away.
I don't even go to the movie theaters, and I saw it twice.
Right.
So.
Well, and I go to the movie theaters like 2 to 3 times a week, and I also saw it 4 times, which 4 times kind of sounds low for me now that I'm saying it out loud, because I probably should have seen it like 5 or 6, but it came out right after COVID. Well,
it was like COVID.
A year after COVID.
Well, remember we had like that second lockdown, so
you're right, we did.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure, but it was definitely COVID era and people were not trying to go to the movie theaters that much.
They were not. So this movie kind of got buried. I remember when it came out, like a lot of like friends and coworkers were like, I didn't really get into it, like it was really long and boring. And I wanted to punch them.
That breaks my heart.
Well, it still breaks my heart because this is a great movie, but the movie went on to win 6 Academy Awards, pretty much all production awards. I'm looking it up right now. It won Best Sound. Like you said, the sound was amazing. It won visual effects, amazing. Production design, music, because Hans Zimmer is a legend, and like the music's amazing.
I knew it was him like before they put his name up.
Well, because you can tell.
Yeah, I'm just like, this orchestra noise. This speaks to Hans.
So like he did The Dark Knight, the movie with the Joker, and like I didn't tell you this yet. I listened to Dune Part 1, Dune Part 2, and the Dark Knight soundtrack like on some of my walks. Like it's just some of the music I listen to.
Same.
And you can hear the same notes from Dark Knight in like, especially Dune Part 1, where like the orchestra and everything almost sounds identical. Not like he can rip off his own work because it's his work and he's great. but it's just like this iconic, legendary, epic music.
Everyone has their own style. You can tell an artist. Like I know that's Michael Jackson.
Right, right. Like and you know it's Hans Zimmer. And it's amazing. That was one of the things I had on my notes to talk about, the music. It's just, it's all iconic from the beginning. Like there's the scene, one scene I love is they're leaving Caladan and the ship comes out of the water. And like Paul's just there like watching like in the hills or the grass or whatever. And the giant fucking ship just comes out of nowhere. And the music is just like full blast orchestra. Like that gave me the chills the first time I saw it.
I definitely had a lot of chills watching this movie. Thinking about the sound, I also really enjoyed the moment when this might be part 2 actually.
That's okay. You can cross them and then we'll do a whole nother episode.
Okay, but it's Jessica and Paul. This is part 2. They are hanging out with Fredman. They're headed back to the siege.
Yeah.
And the Harkonnens come and attack them. When they take off in their little battery pack, like, I don't know, rocket suit thing, he drops a note and it's just like the one note,
Yeah. It might be the beginning of part 2.
It is. It's the very, very beginning.
Where the Harkonnen are like kind of like floating in the desert. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And like, but to bring that back to part 1, they continue part 2 so well that it almost just feels like one long movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also the books, it's one book.
It's one book. That was another thing I wanted to talk to you about. So we were talking about this before we started recording. I saw the movie before I read the book. You saw the movie before you read the book.
Yeah.
But then I got to the book and I was like, and I hate to sound like this guy, but I was like, oh my God, I love this story so much. They left so much shit out. And there's 2 long ass movies. And one thing that's always stuck with me after reading the book is like, there's a scene early in the book. I don't know if you remember it because I read the book like now probably 2 or 3 years ago, but there's like a first like dinner party on Arrakis scene, which I thought was like one of the coolest scenes in the book. And I get it. They made a 2.5 hour movie for part 1, 2 hour and 45 minute ish movie for part 2. So one thing that's crossed my mind is like, they could have made this into 3 movies.
I mean, I think, I'm not sure what's going to happen for Messiah or part 3.
Right.
But I think they're going to go off a tangent.
Yeah, they have to make it good and to make it long and epic because Messiah is short as hell.
Yeah. But the first book, I feel like the Doctor, like they really develop his character a lot more.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So in the movie, he's kind of just like, wow, this shitty guy after years of, loyal servitude. And now you're just going to jump to the Harkonnens for hope of being reunited with your wife. I understand your family's being threatened, but who's the best person to help you in this situation? Leto.
Yeah.
So
I think like that's one thing they definitely left out. That's why I'm saying they could have made 3 movies because I think there was another character that was like an advisor to the Baron that they just like totally left out, who's like this scumbag, and he wasn't in either of the movies. I totally forgot the character's name. I'll look it up, but
yeah,
like they left him out.
I want to say that they kind of replaced him with that other guy, like the subservient like lieutenant or whatever, he just seems kind of slimy and mousy. The
guy that's like there having the conversations and stuff, like early in part 1.
He goes and talks to the Bene Gesserit lady.
All right, so I found the name. It's Count Fenring, who they totally left out of the movie.
Yeah.
And like I remember reading about it after part 2 came out. They're like, oh well, they filmed scene. They cast an actor. They filmed scenes with him, and they just completely cut him out of both movies. And that's part of what I mean. Like maybe they could have made 3 movies because the story's so epic. They could have set up this whole like rise and fall of the Atreides family even harder. Not like they did anything wrong.
No. I think they wanted to get to the meat and potatoes of it all. And I feel like they also really put a lot of emphasis on the romantic connection between Paul and Shanti.
Yeah.
Or some people say Johnny, but I say Chani.
That's okay. You can say whatever you want. It's Shani, but you can say whatever you want.
Yeah. And I listened to the book on tape as well. And yeah, the author just kept saying Johnny. So.
And that was one gripe I know people had with the first movie, which I tell people all the time they can just fuck off. But like Zendaya is a great actress, and she was part of the like big marketing for the first movie, part 1, which is what we're talking about. And a lot of people were really like upset, almost offended. They're like, "Oh, well, she wasn't really in it."
And here's the thing, some people can argue that even in the book she's kind of like a secondary character. Like she doesn't really have like a real story arc other than I'm in love with Paul. He's my mate for life.
Yeah, I love him.
But yeah, there's no real like like they didn't really get into her like upbringing or anything like that. So I understand why she's not in the first film. And I think that comes back to our whole thing where there was a lot of setup with the Atreides family that was left out. And they definitely like really got to the meat and potatoes, and they had to get through that. They really did, because the real story is, you know, told in the conflict in the desert.
Yeah, and the real story is like colonizing Arrakis and how that affects the whole family and the Emperor and the Harkonnens and all that shit. So like that was definitely something I want to talk about, that they could have made it into 3 movies. They left out a lot. That dinner scene was amazing, but like you said about getting to the meat and potatoes of it all, like I talked to a lot of people when the first movie came out that said they thought it was like really boring and it dragged, and some people just didn't even make it through the movie.
You have to be invested in these characters.
You have to be invested, but also to your point, you kind of have to get into the story, because if they spent more time
Yeah.
building up other side characters, I think people would have been more put off.
Yeah, there's so much drama that could have been played there, when you do, because they did say that time had passed since they had been there. I think they've been there like months or something like that before they get attacked. But yeah, there's a lot of special details. And like, do you remember the head of the in their dining room? They had a mounted head.
Oh, like a bull's head.
Yeah, the bull's head. I watched it today and I actually saw the bull's head.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that was so pivotal, and we just left that out. Okay.
Yeah, completely left it out.
Only us nerds will know what that means.
Yeah, and if you get nothing else from listening to us talk about this, then please read the goddamn book.
Yeah. It's a really good book. I read it immediately after I saw the movie. I actually went to Australia like a few weeks later, and I just read it on the plane, right there on the way back. Yeah, I was done. I was pissed I didn't have the second book.
Yeah, but then you get to the second book and you're pissed that you read it.
Yeah.
The second book's like, not to ruin anything too much for people that are going to see Dune Part 3.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, the spoilers are all over this podcast, so sorry in advance if you haven't figured that out by now. It's your loss. But Dune Messiah is the name of the second book, which is what the upcoming Dune Part 3 is going to be about, and it is a tough read. Like, when I read the first like 20 or 30 pages, I was like, oh my God, this is where they're going with this. It's a tough read. I wasn't too into it.
Yeah, it was a tough read. I listened to that one on tape. So
Well,
but,
that's good.
Yeah.
You saved some time.
yeah, I spend a lot of time in my car, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks, but I also really enjoy reading physical books. But yeah, it did kind of drag, but a lot of interesting things did happen. I wish they would have focused more on like these spiritual, like Bene Gesserit, because that's one of my favorite things about this movie is like how it just layers all this mythology, and it parallels like religions that are real. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Most people don't know, and I've told people about this, that the book was written, I believe, like in the early to mid 1960s, which was right around when the state of Israel came about and Israel Palestine. And like, not to go too much into that because that's a very deep political topic that we don't need to talk about, but like there are a lot of parallels in this story and story arc of the first Dune book and the second Dune book, that once you start to think like, wow, Frank Herbert wrote this shit while that was all going on in the real world with religion and people in the desert, like it's pretty trippy.
Yeah, he's drawn on things of his day, and you know, a lot of modern I'm really into YA, like young like coming of age novels and stuff like that. So, and this is a coming of age novel, so
It is.
yeah, it's just I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. You're into those novels, coming of age novels, and
yeah.
he wrote this, and it's a lot about coming of age.
So exactly. So in that point about the time period that he was writing this book, yeah, I think it's really important to think about that because there was a lot of war happening at the time,
Right.
and a lot of people speaking out against it. So yeah, it definitely touches on a lot of political themes, and it just makes the empire look so crazy.
So crazy.
Yeah. So
Which is like why I love the casting of these movies too. Like, one thing I always want to talk about with people is the cast, like of both movies. But like, when you get into this and you don't realize like how deep the cast is, where you've got like Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac, like it feels like Timothy Chalamet became
but doesn't it kind of feel like Jason Momoa? Like, where'd you come from?
Momoa, Rebecca Ferguson, like just everybody. Even like Dave Bautista. The guy that plays the Baron,
He was great.
Stellan Skarsgård, who was in a bunch of Marvel movies, like, and he's been in a lot of other things, and I'm pretty sure was just nominated for supporting actor for another movie this last year. And he's got like 8 kids, by the way, but he does, yeah. One of his sons played Pennywise the Clown. I'm blanking on like his other sons, but he's got like 3 or 4 sons that act, which is crazy. But like Timothy Chalamet almost like grew up throughout the course of these 2 movies. That I think
Definitely.
Part 1 released in 2021, and I think part 2 released in 2024.
Yeah.
And he like became this like big leading man from
Yeah.
these movies.
Yeah.
And he killed it. I'm like, I don't think I've told you this. Maybe I have. I'm like the biggest Timothy Chalamet fan ever.
Yeah, my king.
I love him.
That's how I dress to him.
As my king.
As my king.
Well, and like if you keep listening to this episode, we will do a little Timothy Chalamet trivia because I think he is the king of acting right now. Somebody asked me when I was still working in sports TV, somebody asked me like right around when this movie came out, who I thought like the best actor alive right now was. And I said Timothy Chalamet, and they looked at me and they laughed, and they're like, not like Leonardo DiCaprio or Robert De Niro. And I said, no. Timothy Chalamet is like the James Dean of our generation.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? I'm like, he can do anything.
I mean, it's crazy because when I watched the first film in the beginning, he looks like emaciated. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't look like the guy that's like training a lot and everything.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened when he put that Fremen suit on. It just transformed him, and then he just looks like this big tough dude.
Yeah.
Like
He went from like skinny, weird, like looking kind
Awkward
of
teenager
freaky
dude, yeah.
teenager guy to like Paul Atreides, the badass who
Yeah.
wants to run the desert.
it's that baby face.
The baby face, and he grew up in front of us, and like you said, Josh Brolin's amazing.
I love it, that character in general. Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in the third with that character.
Yeah, well, him and like Paul's mom, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, and that's another thing. They show him like on his guitar singing the song, and that's just such a big part of the book.
it's so big. Like
Yeah.
he's really like a bard who plays music in the book, but in the movie he's like the fill-in like weapons master.
Yeah. Well, he's the fill-in because he's just in charge of everything.
And of everything.
Yeah.
He's just like the right hand man to Leto.
Yeah. I would describe it as like Jason Momoa. His character is just like the first guy you send on the front lines. He's like the Navy SEAL, and then Homeboy comes in as like the captain and colonel.
Brolin's like the leader.
Yeah, exactly.
The leader of the army.
He's making all that.
He's like the general, and
Yeah.
Momoa is just like the commando, like Navy
Exactly.
SEAL. Yeah.
Like go in there, figure it out, and then I'm coming in with the troops.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, so they left out a bunch of Brolin's character throughout the 2 movies, but they also left out a lot of other things about characters. Like I think I think it's Liette Kynes, who in the movie is a woman. I'm pretty sure in the book is a man. And there's also this whole backstory about like that's the doctor who is the Fremen, who's like I think they call her like the judge of the change, and she's like overseeing everything.
I know exactly what you're talking
I
about.
think she's like her character in the book is a man, which I don't have a problem with that at all.
whatever.
But there's also a lot of backstory to that character in the book too,
Mm-hmm.
talking about like how her parents were like Fremen that were like that came from the planet, and like that like her culture and his culture and background. Now it's her in the movie. So they left a lot of that stuff out too, which isn't bad. Again, going back to what you said, you're right. Like they needed to get to the meat and potatoes.
But that also kind of explains why she helped him at the end. She
It
wouldn't
does.
like he grilled her and was like, "Hey, so what did the emperor has to say for this, or emperor has to say about
Right.
this?" And she's like, he forbid me to speak on the subject. And then Paul's like, but you're helping us escape? Like, this is weird. But yeah, she has a soft spot for Paul because of her upbringing that isn't developed at all.
Yeah, and I love the scene where she dies in part one, where like she gets attacked, she gets stabbed, but then she drops the thumper and calls the worm, and she starts saying this like prayer where it's like, I think she starts saying like bless the maker and his water, like this whole like thing, and
Yeah.
like and I love that because like it again brings the movie back to religion, but not in like a direct like sect or any way. It's not like a Christian or Judaism or Islamic thing. It's just like a we
Look,
worship the worm.
I don't care how tough you think you are, or how much of a what do you call that when you don't believe in God? Atheist.
Atheist, yeah, or agnostic.
Yeah, I don't care how freaking into that you are, but when you know you're gonna die, like you say, you make your peace.
You start making your prayers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't know necessarily if you're praying to a god or anything
No,
like
no,
that, but you're definitely making your peace.
You're reflecting on something spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, those words were very poignant. I think a lot of the Bene Gesserit and Fremen like sayings, even in the beginning, the first thing that pops up, I think it's like the spice is everything, or the spice is life, or something like
Well,
that.
there's something about dreams or messages from the future.
Yeah.
That's-
Or maybe the second movie is the one spice controls everything. But yes, the first one's about the dreams.
Right. And the dreams or messages from the future, I believe, is what the first like text that comes on screen
Yes.
is. And then there's this like deep, like throaty, like and then
That's-
it gets to the
that's the-
title, and it's so it gave me the chills, and I didn't even know what I was watching when I saw it. And like, or I think it's dreams or messages from the deep. I think that's what it says. Dreams or messages from the deep. And that really explains, we were talking about how Zendaya is not really in the movie, but like the dream sequences, which are very much lifted from the book straight into the movie,
Yep.
where Paul is dreaming of this like
Fremen woman.
far out planet Arrakis that at that point he hasn't ever been to,
Mm-hmm.
and he can see everything, and he's starting to have these visions of being the chosen one, the Lisan al Gaib, and that part is beautiful to me throughout part one. I know part one, like to a lot of people, drags a little bit, but like where he's having these dreams, and then he goes to the Bene Gesserit, and they do the whole Gom Jabbar scene.
Yeah.
Where
that is.
I love that scene. That scene got like ripped online after the movie came out. There was like an Elmo. People were like spoofing it with like an Elmo video or
Okay.
something.
But that's because it was so popular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think any press is good press, and
Oh my god.
That's-
and in that moment, Timothy Chalamet, when he like raises his face and just stares this woman with her like, oh, brilliant.
it's amazing. And she's got like the I don't know,
mesh.
the mesh veil on,
Yeah.
for whatever we want to call it, and like she's all serious, and then she's like, she tells Lady Jessica after like, well, we've done all we can on Arrakis to help you, and like this is early in the movie too, but like I love how the theme of the dreams plays out throughout the movie, and you start to see, and they explain this much better in the book if I remember correctly, but you start to see how Paul's reality and visions and life are all this like scattered timeline of like he can see everything, and it's not linear for him. It's just all over the place, and he's seeing and living all these moments.
Which is what they said when they were breeding. They were breeding for the lineage, for someone to see the past and the future at the same time. And that got me thinking about the spice, because spice, it helps the pilots or whatever fly from star to star and accurately fold time.
Right.
And that's what I was thinking. I was like, this Messiah, it can just do it. He's spent he's a lineage, but he's also brought to like fruition, or actually like knows he's the one once he comes to the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The spice stuff was always dope to me. And this is going to sound hilarious, but spice, like obviously, like you were saying, it's a fuel that helps the ships. But there's a scene where there's a worm, and they get the harvest. The worm is like about to get the harvester, and they're trying to
when they're
evacuate
flying
everybody.
in the little hummingbird.
And like they're flying around, and Leto he's like, he calls out that is that a worm, and then like Liet Kynes is like, yeah, Shai Hulud. And then Liet Kynes goes, you have great eyes, Like, how could you see that? And then they have the carry-all and the thing breaks. And then they're like, all right, we're going to put 7, 7, and 7 in the ships. And that's the first time, I believe, in the movie and maybe in the book too, that's the first time Paul comes in physical contact with the spice.
Yeah, that is
And
both.
he trips out, right?
Yep.
And it's amazing.
Immediately.
Now, this is going to sound really corny, but like the spice from that point on reminded me of like a drug.
It is a drug.
It is.
It is 100% a drug. That because it's not fuel for the ship. It's something that the pilots take to be able to guide through time. So if he's already predisposed to premonitions, and then you put him on the spice, ooh, homeboy is seeing things.
It's enhancing like everything that he, like you said, that he was bred to be. Like the Bene Gesserit and Lady Jessica and everything, like wanted this chosen one, whether it was him or somebody else.
Yeah.
And
To see the future.
to see the future, the past, the present, like all of it at once, just so he can live it. And like I remember that's part of what I had trouble with reading Messiah is like he's really just seeing everything at once in Messiah. Like he's just seeing like the end times, the present time, like so the spice for Paul really gets unlocked in that scene in part 1.
Yeah.
And he gets like lost. Like Gurney has to help him.
It comes out of nowhere. It hits him like a wind.
Like a wind and a wave, it like crashes on him.
He's so determined to get these people onto the helicopter, the little hummingbird helicopter, and it just smacks him in the face, and all of a sudden he's tripping balls.
I love how you call it the hummingbird helicopter. There's a name for him.
No,
actually.
there is, and
it's called an ornithopter.
Oh yeah,
It is, but I like hummingbird helicopter a lot more. I'm not going to remember that, but I love it.
yeah. I mean, that's what it looks like.
It's exactly what it looks like. The wings go slow, and then all of a sudden they go so fast you can't see them, and it's like a hummingbird helicopter.
Yeah. And they have multiple wings.
They do.
But yeah, just the technology in the film is so great.
So great, and it's like kind of like mind blowing shit because like
I tried to watch the 1980s version.
I'm not going to do it.
I couldn't do it.
I'm not going to do it.
I couldn't do it.
I've had people tell me that I think it's 1984.
Yeah.
And I think it was director was David Lynch, who recently passed away.
Yeah.
And
R.I.P.
people have told me like, oh, the 84 version's better.
No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I won't even watch it because I hear stuff like that, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
No, I turned it on because I'm like, dang, I love this movie. I read the book, but I couldn't do it. It's just the cinematography wasn't there, the budget wasn't there, the costumes weren't there.
Have you seen the image of the worm from the 1980s?
Yeah. I think I saw it,
It looks
in the
nothing,
90s.
It looks
movie.
nothing like what they did in Dune Part 1.
No.
To me, like one of the biggest climaxes of Dune Part 1, as we're talking about the worm and the 84 version being super cheese and corny, is towards the end where Paul and Lady Jessica are doing the sand walk and they think they're doing a good job. And then there's like some sort of like hollow trap on the ground. And
I think they call it drum sand.
Okay. And
Yeah.
it's basically like a trap that sounds like a hollow drum.
Yeah, it's just a natural occurring land feature there.
Okay.
That it's like it's So the Fremen avoid that completely. They'll walk around.
And then they have to book it. They run out of there because they know the worm hears them and the worm is coming. And for me, when I first saw this in theaters, and I don't know, you speak to it too. Once I'm finishing saying this, they get to like some solid rock footing, and they see the worm, Shai Hulud, and the worm. I saw this in IMAX. The worm just towers over Paul and Jessica in this incredible fucking shot. And I know a lot of people say Dune Part 2 is the superior movie, but this shot is one of the reasons why I think Dune Part 1 holds a special place for me, is because the worm just comes up and you see this whole fucking like spiky tooth mouth, like insanity, and it's just standing over him. And then they say that they hear a thumper, which for those of you listening that haven't seen Dune, it's really just like a piece of plastic that they stick in the sand that pounds the ground up and down to attract the worm to the sound as if somebody's walking there. And they hear a thumper and they go, oh, somebody put a thumper, and then the worm goes away. But that moment for a few seconds where the worm is just up and all you see on the screen is a tiny Paul and I think Lady Jessica and the worm was probably the coolest part of the movie for me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why we watched part 2, and that's because part 1 blew our minds. We can only say that part 2 is a better movie because we got hooked to part 1.
Because part one exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember thinking in that moment too when I saw that, and it's just like pitch black inside of the worm's mouth. And I just remember thinking, like, this is the deep.
Yeah.
This is the deep that they were talking about. And after reading the books and everything, and watching part two and figuring out like where this whatever Bene Gesserit poison drink that they drink come from, yeah, that just makes total sense in the end. But I remember thinking like, oh my goodness, this is like huge. This is inevitable. This is like goes on forever.
Yeah. Like you can't tell where the end and beginning of the worm is. It's just incredible. And there's not like just one worm. Like there's sandworms all over Arrakis, and in the movie they kind of make it like there's maybe like one or two worms, but no, like in the book,
Really?
kind of. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, but you only see like the action of one or two maybe worms, but like there's clearly worms all over the desert. That gets to like the end of the movie where there's this really crazy fight scene where Paul is challenged by one of the Fremen, and it's actually I think it's Paul's mom that's challenged, Lady Jessica.
Yeah,
and he has to like be her champion.
Correct.
And I always like that scene too, because this moment comes up where Paul yells at him. He goes, "Do you yield?" And then there's this like sidebar conversation between Javier Bardem and Jessica Ferguson's character. And they're like, "Oh, Paul's never killed anybody."
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah,
all
she
like,
does, yeah.
and he's like, "Well, what do you like? We fight to the death. Like, what do you mean he's never killed anybody?" And you get to this big moment where Paul kind of grows up and becomes like the man that his father was. And he stabs this guy in the back, and it's a cool fight scene. But then you get to this like end where they're walking through the desert, and he's finally with Shawnee, who is Zendaya, who everybody was mad that wasn't in a lot of the movie. And you see them looking at somebody riding a worm in the distance, and they talk about desert power
Yeah. And then you figure out what that means later on.
in part two for the most part.
But okay, so seeing Paul in that moment and then going back a few scenes when he meets up with Duncan, and Duncan is like gonna break him the news that his dad died, but he's like, "Oh, I already know." And then Duncan like takes a knee and he's like, my what was it?
My Duke.
My Duke.
Yeah.
And like his face of like, "Oh, that's right. I'm a Duke now."
It's me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is me. To go like from that surprise and like I haven't really thought this through to, killing a man and really just stepping up to be the man.
Yeah, he realizes throughout like the last hour of the movie, after that Duncan scene especially, and while he's flying through the desert in the broken ornithopter and crash landing and killing this man, and then starting his journey into the desert, because he wants to be on Arrakis because he feels like his father went there and that's his destiny. Like you see Paul grow up over this last hour of the movie into the next Duke, and also not just the next Duke, but like the man of the family. Like he's there leading his mom. He has a vision that his mom is pregnant and tells her about it, which is a pretty large part of the book and Messiah and everything else that is Dune, his mom being pregnant. And it's cool. Paul really just does grow up. And again, I get why some people thought the movie was boring, but I couldn't have thought more of the opposite. Like it's this epic movie. Like you said, it's this epic love story that's kind of in the making. There's crazy war scenes, like absolutely crazy war scenes. The desert setting and scenery is just goddamn beautiful. And then it sets up this part two, which we're not going to really talk too much about in this, but I was so sad when I saw the first movie because the title says Dune in part one. It doesn't say Dune part one. And so like I wasn't prepared.
For it to end.
I wasn't prepared to let go. I was like, oh my God, I want to know more.
Yeah.
That's part of what made me want to read the book. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
That reminds me of a funny story. When I went to go see Lord of the Rings for the first time,
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was like different books.
One of three.
Yeah. So I was pissed when the movie ended. I was like, we haven't even got to Mordor. Like, what?
Yeah. It's like a
the
3-hour movie too.
Yeah.
You're like, I just watched a 3-hour movie and I'm not even on the second of three.
Same thing. Like this hour is like it's 2.5 hour Dune movie. And
Yeah.
we haven't scratched the surface yet.
Haven't scratched the surface. The part two movie is longer. The part two movie has more fight scenes and more character development. I think one thing we talked about stuff they left out of the two movies that was in the book, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure in the second half of the book, Paul and Shawnee have a kid and then that kid dies? Pretty sure
Yeah.
that all happens.
Yeah, that does happen.
That does in the first book, which, by the way, they totally left this out of the movies.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
but
so
I don't
much.
think we're there yet.
No, I know.
Honestly,
I know.
in the movies, so we might see that in 3.
Well, so they have a couple more kids in Messiah, but I'm pretty sure, and I could just be making this up, pretty sure they had a kid, and like the last third of the first Dune book like takes place over a couple years, and their kid dies.
Yeah.
Pretty sure their kid gets killed.
Yeah, I remember that, but I can't remember if that's in Messiah or in the first Dune, but I do recall that. And no, wait, hold on. That happens after. That happens in Messiah.
Are you sure?
They bring
I'm
up
just
the kid.
crossing it.
Yeah, double check. But I remember the emperor's daughter. They're married, I think, when shit goes down.
So I looked it up. I was right. In Frank Herbert's original Dune novel, Paul and Shawnee's first child was a son named Leto, and that's why
Yeah.
I think the twins that come in Messiah, or what is hopefully going to happen in Dune Part 3, I think it's Leto the second, and I think he names his first son Leto.
Yeah, I remember that, but I think, can you check if he was already married to the empress at that point?
When he had the kid? No,
Yeah,
I don't think so.
He doesn't get married in the first book?
No, he does, but I think he and Shawnee have the kid, and then towards the end of the book, they get married as part of like the plot to take over the empire.
Well, yeah.
There's
and he talks about that in the first movie too,
yeah,
where he's got to make an alliance, and that's what he's going to
does.
offer the emperor.
and you can tell that he sees that in his visions, and that's another thing that they left out from the book, that he is having these visions in the book of like,
Yeah.
this is my plan, and this is what I need to do to take over
The emperor's daughter wasn't in a single dream sequence
in the first part movie.
And whenever he does the dream sequences, like
She's not in it at all in the movie.
Yeah, and it's so important to the telling of the story.
Super important. And Florence Pugh plays the princess Irulan. I couldn't pronounce her name if I tried, but
Same.
A nice space name for the princess. And yeah, you're right. I mean, he does have these visions in the book about his plan and her, and like Shawnee's not the only vision.
No. Yeah.
And the visions are really cool, but I also think they make the book a little heavier than the movies, because you really have to follow a lot of like Paul's like dream state in the book. Whereas in the movies, it's kind of more linear, which is cool. I mean, I love both, and they're both very different, the book and the movies.
Obviously, the book's going to have more details, but the story was told really well in this abbreviated version of the book.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I don't know who did this the adaptation, but they did a great job. Whoever wrote the script, or
well, I think so. I know the director's name is Denis Villeneuve, and he did both. I mean, he's done all three, and I think he like co-wrote.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure he co-wrote so he was one of 3 credited writers on Dune Part 1. And another thing that like is amazing, you were talking about this way earlier on, is the cinematography. And the cinematographer, well, yeah, I mean, the cinematographer is not going to be the same in Part 3. Did you know that?
No.
Does that make you sad?
A little bit.
It should.
Oh man.
It should.
That is a tall task to meet those expectations.
He's legendary. There were a couple rumors going into the production of Dune Part 3 that they weren't going to have the same cinematographer, which was pretty much confirmed right away. And there was a rumor that they weren't going to have Hans Zimmer do the music. Now, they confirmed when the first trailer came out a few months ago or 2 months ago that he is doing the music.
Yeah, I saw that trailer.
And the trailer's really good. But they didn't get his name's, I've said this on a different podcast I've done. I think his name's Grieg Fraser. He did Project Hail Mary. That was his most recent movie. So I think he was booked while they were filming Part 3. But the cinematography is amazing. I just showed you a book before we started recording of both Dune movies, and it's all these like stills, and it's all like breathtaking, mostly real in-camera, non-VFX settings, like where they went to the desert, they went to Jordan, they went to like different parts of the world, and they filmed this shit.
This is the type of movie where you're like, oh, this is art. This is what they're talking about when they say like movies are art.
It's pure art. And like one way I describe this and Part 2 is like it's this very visceral experience where like it's visual, it's emotional, It's the music, but then you kind of like feel it like emotionally in your gut while you're watching some of this. You're like, oh my God, this desert is breathtaking. And I never thought I'd say that about a desert because like I have family in Arizona and like no offense to Arizona, but like I've never thought a desert was breathtaking. And then I saw Dune Part 1 and I was like, oh my God, I need to see this again.
Well, the color contrast helps.
Amazing. Like the reds and the oranges and then like
The purples and blues of the
purples,
sky.
blues, the dark night sky, the dark when the worm is there.
The hand on the moon.
Oh yeah.
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 That just
All of it's great.
all the different moons on the horizon.
It's amazing. The city, all of it's crazy.
Yeah.
You and I could talk about this movie forever, but I'm going to kind of try to wrap it up and get to this game because I feel like if we talked about it, we'd go 3 hours. So I came up with a game, 2 games. We're going to do 2 games. Surprise, there's a second game. This first one's not really a game. I just thought this was kind of fucking ridiculous. So in 2021, we were like a little more than a year off of COVID and movies were not being released like they were prior to 2020. The movies were being released, some of them on streaming, some of them same time streaming in theaters. Like this movie, I think, unfortunately, was streaming and theaters, so it didn't make as much money as it could have or should have.
Yeah.
But one thing that blew my mind is I went back and looked at some of the movies. I didn't list them all because there's 10, but I went back and looked at some of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture that year. Now, if you've seen none of these, that's okay because I can speak to some of them. But I'm gonna list Dune, and then I'm gonna say Dune or another movie that was nominated for Best Picture that year. And if you've seen the movie, you can speak to it. If you haven't, we can just say skip or next. But it blew my mind that Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 didn't win Best Picture because I think they were both the best movies of the year those years. And the other movies that were nominated for Best Picture like would not and should not have been nominated for Best Picture other years. And it blew my mind. So if you were picking Best Picture this year, would you have picked Dune Part 1 or West Side Story? I don't know if you saw the remake of West Side Story.
Yeah, no.
You didn't see it?
No, I did see it. I love musicals.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do
but
too.
it was not on the same level.
Different movie. Like
Yeah.
Dune's just a whole different level.
Yeah, absolutely.
And West Side Story is a classic story,
It's a beautiful story.
a very American classic story.
Yeah.
So Dune, okay,
But it wasn't just like you said, Dune was visceral.
very visceral.
It hits you on this like emotional level and it's all senses, but not West Side Story, absolutely can't believe.
So Dune, or did you hear of a movie that Netflix came out with called The Power of the Dog? It was with Benedict Cumberbatch. No. So I actually saw, this is going well because I didn't see West Side Story, but I saw The Power of the Dog. And I thought Power of the Dog was like a top 5 movie that year, but it was nowhere close to Dune Part 1.
Okay.
Great. I think it was Benedict Cumberbatch, Jesse Plemons, this like Western movie. I think Kirsten Dunst was in it. Like it was a really well done movie. And I think it won an Oscar for screenplay that year. Mm-hmm. And I just think it was nowhere close to Dune.
Okay.
Like just nowhere close. Yeah. Okay, here's another one. So we're both saying Dune so far.
So far, yes.
Dune or Nightmare Alley? Did you hear of
No.
it? Did you see it?
No. I
So
haven't.
I saw Nightmare Alley. It was this really trippy Bradley Cooper, like Guillermo del Toro movie, I believe. Right. I believe. I could be butchering this. Whatever. That movie shouldn't have even been nominated for Best Picture. Like I was shocked that it was even on the list. So we're still with Dune. This next movie, I don't know if either of us saw. Licorice Pizza.
No.
I think it's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, the guy that just directed One Battle After Another.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Love him. And I love his movies. And I haven't, it kind of made me upset at myself when I was looking at this list that I haven't watched Licorice Pizza. But okay, so we haven't seen it. So Dune. There was a movie called Don't Look Up. It was another Netflix movie, which I thought was a brilliant movie.
It was a really good movie.
It was a funny, like dark comedy about like where the state of the world is. Yeah. And I think Timothée Chalamet played like a stoner, like punk kid in that too.
Yeah. Another reason why I watched it.
Yeah. And it was fun. And it was an entertaining, and I think Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. It was like a fun, entertaining movie. But by no means was that anywhere close to Dune. No. Okay. So now there's like the two, I guess, like
I was haunted by Dune. Like, you know
in
what
a good way.
Yes, exactly. Like it just.
Like you wanted more.
I did. I wanted more. And it just like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I almost felt like I was hearing the sounds of the movie in real life. Every once in a while I'd be like, wait a minute.
Well, that's part of why I listen to the soundtrack all the time, is because I want to hear those sounds.
I do listen to movie soundtracks. There's a couple that I really enjoy.
Have you listened to the Dune soundtrack just for fun?
I've listened to a few of them because on my Tidal, when I went to go do this, they weren't all available. But yes.
The Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 soundtracks are definitely on Apple Music, and I highly recommend blasting those on repeat because they'll like calm you in so many different ways.
Frequencies.
There was a movie that came out that year called Belfast. It was very good.
I did see that
It
one.
was sad, but it was very good.
Yeah.
I don't think it was better than Dune Part 1.
I feel like it was written really, really well, but I don't think it was executed as good as it could be. Like,
It was good, and it like unlike some of these other movies on this list that actually were
I
nominated.
just felt like I wanted to jump into a lake after that movie.
Right.
And just drown.
Like, yeah, it was hard. It was a hard watch.
Yeah.
Now, there's the movie that actually won Best Picture. I did not see this. You might not have seen it. Coda was about.
Oh, I saw that.
Okay. Was Dune better than Coda?
Okay, so that one was really.
I heard it was really good.
It was really good. I think it was just. It showed a lot of complexity in family relations.
Right.
And it dealt with a lot of themes of like independence. So honestly, I think that's the only movie on the list that can really compete.
Now, if you had to pick, if somebody was forcing you, and they're
Gun
like,
in my head.
yeah. Dune Part 1 or Coda, Best Picture.
I
for that
mean,
year.
I feel like if I was voting, I would vote for Dune, but I definitely see the argument for Coda.
Okay. So we're in agreement. Dune Part 1 was probably the best movie nominated for Best Picture that year.
I agree.
Not guaranteed, just probably.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was a fun one. I'm glad that worked. So our second and last game, we're gonna blast through a Timothée Chalamet trivia. I love Timmy. Like I was saying earlier, I think he's like the best actor on the planet. I'm gonna ask you some questions. We'll just have fun with it. If you don't know the answers, just tell me you don't know the answer. I'll read you the answers. It's fine.
I really think I'm gonna know a lot of
I think you're gonna know a lot of it too, especially because I put like two like pun.
gimmies.
Yeah, two very pun intended layups in here.
Okay.
All right, he's been nominated. This one's not as easy. He's been nominated for 3 different Best Actor Oscars already, and I think he's only 30 years old.
Wow.
Can you name the movies he's been nominated for Best Actor?
Well, the Marty.
That's one. Marty Supreme.
Supreme.
Nailed it.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, so he was in that Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown.
Oh, that's right. I
which was
should have said something.
great. And he was actually nominated for a movie where he played a character who was, I believe, in a gay romance with Armie Hammer's character called Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah,
it was in
I didn't see
2018.
that
I never
one.
saw it either. I'm ashamed. I should watch it.
But
But 3 Best Actor nominations.
that's got to be supporting actor though.
No, all 3 are, I believe,
Leading
are Best
actor?
Actor. Yeah, I think at that point he might have became the youngest Best Actor nominee
Wow.
because that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So he must have been like 22. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Best Actor.
Okay.
He hasn't won any of them, which makes me really sad. And I think he punted his award this year by making the comments that he made, but whatever. Okay, here's an easy one. Who is he currently dating? Who is Timothée Chalamet?
Kylie Jenner.
Kylie Jenner.
King Kylie.
That is right. Timothée Chalamet is a super fan of a specific NBA team. Name the team.
Knicks.
The Knicks.
Come on.
See, I told you there were layups in here.
Yeah.
Here's a tough one. Timothée Chalamet was in a movie where he played a cannibal. Can you name the movie?
No, but
Have you seen this movie?
I need to see that.
Ooh, it's pretty good. And Taylor Russell is in it too, and she's great. It's called Bones and All.
No, I haven't seen
It's
that
directed by Luca Guadagnino, who also did Call Me by Your Name, who also did the movie Challengers. I don't know if you
Oh,
saw.
I love Challengers.
People love Challengers. It's a very sexy movie.
It was very sexy.
Very.
But it yeah.
So Bones and All. If anybody listening can stomach a movie, a romance story about a cannibal that Timothée Chalamet was in, if you want to watch some artsy shit that's hard to watch, Bones and All, check that out. Okay, so we've almost answered this whole question. There's 2 left. We're going quick. We've almost answered this whole question, but I've worded it differently. So Timothée Chalamet is becoming what I would call the king of the Christmas holiday season box office. With one movie due a week before Christmas this year, Dune Part 3, can you name the 4 movies he will have released within 2 weeks of Christmas since 2023? I just gave you one of them. So that's one of the 4.
Yeah.
Name the 3 other ones that have released in the Christmas season.
It was the Bob Dylan one.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
And you already, in one of the other answers, you already named another one.
Marty.
Yeah. And there's one more.
There's one more.
It was in 2023. It's a musical.
I'm drawing a blank.
It's like more of the kids' family genre.
No.
Wonka.
Oh, you know what? I never saw that one.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's really cute. It's really good. Keegan Michael Key is in it, and like if you like musicals, you said that. I would highly recommend you watch Wonka at some point.
Man,
'Cause he's so good.
Gene Wilder, he was the original
Yeah,
Wonka.
so good.
I just
Grew up with that. It was amazing.
super loyalty. I think that's why I never gave it a chance.
Well, also they blew it with that, like, no offense, because I love Johnny Depp, but they made that like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp, and that made me almost not want to watch Wonka. But
That's exactly what it was.
But then I saw, yeah, because a lot of us had PTSD from like, oh, are they going to screw it up again? I recommend to you and to anybody else that's listening to this to see Wonka if you haven't seen it, because it's awesome. It makes you feel like a kid again. And there's one more question. A younger Timothy Chalamet was in a Christopher Nolan movie. What movie was it?
Oh, I love Christopher Nolan. No, you're gonna have
This is a tricky one. He played I think he played a character's son. And this movie is now, I believe, 12 years old. And it is also known as one of the better, more popular space movies.
Space movie.
Christopher Nolan's space movie.
No, you're gonna have to give me this one.
Timothy Chalamet was in Interstellar.
Oh, I love that movie.
Most people don't realize he was in it. I've read some like articles that he was a pain in the ass to work with.
Of course.
Because
he was a kid.
Because he's that kid. But yeah, so that's my Timothy Chalamet trivia.
Yeah, I love that movie Interstellar. I gotta go back.
Go back and watch it. He's
I
in
definitely
it
didn't
briefly.
recognize him.
He's in it briefly. I think they like might live on a farm or something.
They do. They do.
Yeah,
It's
he's like the son.
Yeah, it's like a dust bowl in the farming industry.
He's like McConaughey's son in that.
Really?
I think so.
But isn't the girl his daughter?
I think so. I think he had 2 kids.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, because they did do that scene in the beginning where they're young. The kids are young.
And it might be that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of that movie. A lot of people love that. I'm not. I know. I'm me, and I'm being a hater right now. I'm not a big fan of that movie.
You just hate quantum physics.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I took regular physics, and I was like, I'm out on the quantum shit. Okay, so we agreed we're going to do another episode on Dune Part 2. Is there anything else like that you loved about Dune Part 1 or anything? It's okay if there isn't. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I'm holding back a lot of stuff that I feel like we should talk about for Part 2.
That's fair.
But Part 1, I just want to say, if you sat through Game of Thrones, you can do this.
You can do a 2.5-hour movie. Yeah, you got this.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's epic. It's a family story. It's a love story. It's like a drama. It's a space sci-fi thing. And like, here's another comparison I want to make. You made a good one with Game of Thrones. If you like anything about any Star Wars material ever, and you don't give Dune Part 1 a chance for 2.5 hours, shame on you.
Honestly, I haven't. I'm thinking about all the Star Wars people in my life. All of them love Dune.
They should.
Yeah.
They should.
Just,
I don't think everybody I know that likes Star Wars likes Dune. And
really?
that makes me upset.
Your friends suck.
Yeah, that's no offense to all you listening, but actually you're all great. Yeah, no, like if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Dune Part 1 in its entirety, you should.
There's a lot of parallels with Star Wars, like
a lot.
Yeah.
Like The Chosen One.
Yeah. I also will raise you The Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and another parallel with Star Wars is the voice thing, like the voice, the Force.
Yeah.
Like he uses the voice, the Bene Gesserit voice to control or command things. I do love that scene when they're flying away in the ornithopter and they're supposed to be dropped for dead in the desert. And like she's got the gag on and he's trying to use the voice. And then there's like the deaf, like Harkonnen henchman. That whole scene is really intense and really well done. And that's a great part of the movie as well. I mean, the whole movie's really great. It's really great.
There are moments though. That's a good one.
That's a great one.
She's like putting up the gang signs or like the sign language.
So good.
Yeah.
The whole movie blew my mind.
And then you can just see her face. She's so pissed. She's like, "You're not using the right pitch."
Yeah. Oh, she's always telling him like, "You're not doing it right."
Yeah.
Even at the beginning of the movie, there's a scene at the breakfast table where she's like, "Command me to pass the water," and he tries, and she like does it a little bit, and she goes, "That was close. Good try." I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, "That was close. Good try."
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, well, it's early."
Yeah, exactly. Give me a second.
It's so good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that about wraps things up, but I want to thank you for joining me, Vanessa, on this.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been awesome. Thank you, anybody who's listening, all 5 to 10 of you. I'm just kidding. If there's more of you, that's great. Please keep listening. And this has been another episode of The Hunger Games.